Hi guys, welcome to Wistful Woods Farm. I wanted to show you everything that started growing this week and all the progress on the garden. So in the front garden, the calendula is getting much bigger. The snapdragons are bouncing back. We've had really heavy rain the last couple days. Coreopsis is getting much bigger. Everything is so much happier to be in the ground than in those planting trays. The salvia, the hollyhocks in here, the larkspur. I think everything is almost doubled in size since I put it in. The lawn needs to be mowed really bad before it sets off grass seeds everywhere. The gladiolas are starting to perk up. These lilacs that I planted are starting to bounce back from we got them from the bargain bin, and so they were only $3, but they did look almost dead when we planted them. I didn't know if they were going to bounce back. Then the poppies are getting much bigger. I planted some onion sets around this Just Joey rose to help with pest control, because I found in my other garden that when I planted garlic and onions around the roses, it really did help keep the pests down. And then I think this is Jupiter's beard and Agastache. The sedum is so much bigger than it was. We have a drainage issue, and I think the water that's coming off of the roof here is hitting, and see how it's washed out a lot of the topsoil that I put over the cardboard. And that seam, I think water's hitting under that seam, washing out underneath here. So I need to figure out a solution there. The lamb's ear, more Jupiter's beard, and poppies, echinacea. They're all so happy. And then the gladiolas along the back here are getting much bigger. I was really worried with the excess water coming off the roof. As you can see how it really has, and I didn't think about that when I put the bed there. But the gladiolas seem really okay with it, and they don't seem to be stretching for the sun. So even though they are in the shade about half of the day, they do seem to be doing okay. And then the Gara, it'll be really pretty to have the texture of it's also called whirling butterflies, and so it looks really pretty when it blows in the wind. And so all the plants, they really do seem to be doing well back here. The rhubarb is perking up. And then in this back garden over here, we don't have a tiller, so I use the box grader on the tractor to kind of pull up the top layer of grass, and I let it dry out a little. And then we went over the beds where I plowed it up with the flamethrower, but I think it's been too wet, and we're gonna have to go over and burn it again. I think he only burned it in some spots. I don't think he burned all of it. We need to go over the bed, burn it, and then dig it again and burn it again, because if it was just regular grass, it would be one thing, but there's some quack grass in here that I really don't want coming up through the beds. Then our potato beds aren't as fluffy. They are settling a little bit. The pear tree that hasn't been planted yet is blooming, and the quickfire hydrangea is leafing out really well. And then the black lace elderberries are coming back to life. I don't think these hydrangeas are gonna make it, but they always are late bloomers, so we'll see. This, I think it was the apricot or aprium that I propagated here, that the propagation seemed to be doing really well. And over here, this grape looked like it had died out, but it's got some good bud growth. The raspberries that we moved don't look like they made it though. And then this grape, I think, is starting to come to life. And then the rhubarb, I need to cut the rhubarb, the seed stalk off. But this is just a cutting from one in the old garden. So it makes me really happy that this is doing so well. And then this flowering plum that I had all but given up hope on is actually coming back at the base, and some of the propagations are showing signs of life in there. So that is really good. And this flowering plum was really having a hard time, but since we put it in the ground, it's flushed all this new growth. This fragrant cloud is putting on all sorts of new growth too. I think we've lost one blueberry. This one bounced back, and this one's flush with new growth. But I think this one is a goner. But this one I thought was totally dead, and it looks like it's greening back up. So I hadn't quite got all the broccoli and Brussels sprouts in the ground, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I have some serious pest pressure. It hasn't really attacked, they haven't really attacked these ones too badly, but the ones in the beds here are getting nibbled. See, those darn critters. I need to get some guinea hens. Because they're just munching up the cabbage. These bigger ones kind of show a little bit more pressure on them. The peach we planted last week has started to blossom. This blackberry I thought had died. This blackberry is hanging in there. This one I thought had died completely, but it has all new growth down here at the base, so it's sending out runners, so that's good. This one though was doing wonderfully, and for some reason it just shriveled up and died. I'm really hoping that it'll pull through. I think the problem is that the dog's been doing his business on it. And this one's very happy in this spot. This one's doing okay. This one died. This pressure on this cabbage is insane. But the onion sets that we planted are coming up. The scarlet kale, they're not attacking as badly as they are this dazzling blue kale. And the Wakefield cabbage. I mean, look, there's nothing left. The red Russian kale is fine though. So I don't know. In this far bed, I was going to do, well, the plan is ultimately to do an elderberry hedge along here, but until the elderberries, because right now they're about 2 inches tall, until they grow in, I think I'm going to do sunflowers along the back with bean trellises along here, because I want to do a lot more dry beans. I don't think the trellises in the center of these larger beds are going to give me as many dry beans as I would like to have. So, and I think that'll be really pretty and provide that kind of an enclosure. The kids really wanted to have a secret garden, and so I think that'll help give it a little feel of a secret garden, the feel of a secret garden. Thanks for coming along today to see all the progress on the garden. Have a beautiful day.